You know, when I think about Doctor Who, I think of a fun, whimsical spaceman that's all about bringing peace and love to the universe and cracking a few jokes along the way. But y'all, back in the day, Doctor Number One was a straight-up asshole. Our story begins at a random-ass school somewhere in what I assume is London. Teachers Ian and Barbara are meeting up after class to throw shade on this weird-ass girl in school named Susan. She's too damn smart, and they ain't having it. Anyway, they make the stalker-ass decision to follow this nerd home one night, and y'all, this would never fly in 2024. Ian and Barbara see Susan go into this dusty-ass junkyard all by herself, and they decide to follow her. But then they get there, and she ain't nowhere to be found, just some old junk and an old-ass police box. So now they go hide, and then the doctor shows up going about his business. So the doctor opens up the door, and Susan's like, "Yo, welcome home, Grandpa," but then Ian and Barbara will pop up and start talking some mad shit to this dude that they don't even know yet. So Ian's all like, "Yo, open the box or we gonna get the fuzz up in here," and the doctor's like, "Shit, well then call a popo, cause I ain't opening the box, and when they get here, you gonna look like a straight-up clown." Meanwhile, back in the TARDIS, Susan's like, "Yo, Granddad, what's a holdup?" And that's all Ian and Barbara need to hear. They push the doctor's old ass out of the way, and then we get our first bigger on the inside moment. Now Susan's all like, "What the fuck are y'all doing up in here?" And it turns out this weird-ass girl and her impossibly old grandpa are like aliens, and this old box is their spaceship. Ian and Barbara calling cap on this whole story like they didn't just run their ass up in a police box that's bigger on the inside. So then the doctor's all like, "Say less," and he starts flipping switches on the control panel. This activates the TARDIS, and they fly up out of that junkyard and straight into the vortex. The sudden takeoff makes everybody go limp, and when the TARDIS appears again, they in the middle of nowhere. The doctor turns on the TV to see this mean-ass looking shadow outside, and that's the end of the first episode. So Fred Flintstone got the whole squad looking on while he rolling up a fat-ass bone, but they ain't got no way to spark up, 'cause ain't nobody know how to make fire. But the lack of fire ain't stopping this old-ass woman from roasting his ass in front of God and everybody. And y'all, this poor man is trying, but even his girl's starting to get in his head. She tell Fred that the rest of the gang's starting to think that this dude Barney, a dude that they don't even know, might be a better front man. And this girl's daddy done said that if Fred don't make this bone spark up, then he ain't gonna let her smash. So if Fred wanna get heated, then he better bring the smoke. Meanwhile, back at the TARDIS, Barney Rubble done got his whole world turned upside down when he saw the doctor and the gang pop up out of nowhere. Ian and Barbara wake up to see the doctor and Susan going on about their business like they ain't just committed 2 counts of felony kidnapping. And even though his ass just got flung into the vortex from a dusty old junkyard, Ian is still on that bullshit saying that the doctor ain't got no time machine. And the doctor's like, "What I gotta do to get you off that mess?"
Just open the doors, Dr. Foreman.
Eh? Doctor Who?
Ah, he said the thing. Anyway, old boy ain't so loud no more when he goes outside and they in the middle of nowhere. But the doctor notices that his TARDIS is still a police box. What's up with that? The doctor wanders off now, but that's a big fuck up because Barney Rubble is still out there lurking around and he does not discriminate when it comes to throwing hands with the elderly. Back in Bedrock, Fred chilling with a bucket of Popeyes when Barney show up carrying the doctor on his shoulder, and he tells the gang that he dead ass saw this dude shoot fire out of his fingers. But Fred ain't having none of that BS. But y'all, this dude's squad about as loyal as Tiger Woods on a penthouse cruise ship, 'cause they already ready to make Barney Rubble their new leader. Right now. The doctor wakes up while Fred and Barney argue back and forth over who's gonna be making some fire today. And when Doc don't shoot fire out of his hands like Goku, the whole cave gang starts clowning hard on old Barney like they wasn't just about to name him the mayor of Bedrock. And old boy don't take this very well, 'cause he's straight up about to shank old Doc when Susan and the squad show up and Barney get papped up by a 15-year-old girl. Fred grabs in and is about to split him wide open when Doc goes, "Yo, you kill my boy and I ain't making shit for y'all stank-ass cave folk." So Fred has the Bedrock gang take the TARDIS crew to the Cave of Skulls for a while he figure it out. The old-ass lady says y'all should have killed those new people for coming up in the house and acting a fool, but Fred say he ain't killing nobody till he got some fire, so at least your man's got priorities. Fast forward a little bit and the Bedrock gang is catching a nap while this old-ass lady sneaks up and comes up in the back door of the Cave of Skulls. Wilma wakes up Fred and snitches on the old lady. She tells Fred that she's fixing to go up to the Cave of Skulls and smoke that old man and his gang, but the opposite is actually true because she cuts them loose and they haul ass out the back door of the cave. See, the old woman is scared of fire, and she thinks that if fire comes up in bedrock, then they all gonna die. But Fred and Wilma run in, and he's pissed when he figures out what the old lady did. He body slams this old lady and then goes chasing after the TARDIS gang while they run through this dinosaur-infested woods in the middle of the night. Doc and the gang get 100 feet away before my man is already blown up. Ian wants to keep on running, but the Doc is out of shape bad, y'all. And just when they get up to hike some more, Barbara trips over Pumbaa's dead body. Barb freaks out that her favorite Disney character done got half eaten by a Tyrannosaurus and starts losing her shit. Fred and Wilma hear this, and now they know exactly where the gang is hiding. But this don't go down like Fred planned, cause as soon as he turns the corner, he immediately gets drugged by another fucking dinosaur. Rather than doing the smart thing and hauling ass, Barbara and Ian run over and try to save Fred Flintstone from being another carcass in the jungle. Now while they tend to the man that just stuffed them up in a cave like a bag of old coats in July, the Doc is like, y'all be tripping because we could have done been the fuck out of here by now. I mean, let's be real. Cavemen didn't live but what, like 20 years no way? And old boy already passed his prime. And that reminds me, what about the old lady at the Cave of Skulls? Well, Barney Rubble shows up and he ain't very pleased that the Doc and them escape. So he pulls out a shank and takes out the old lady once and for all. Then this mofo goes and tells the whole tribe that Fred and Wilma killed the old woman and took off with the Doc and his people. And y'all right here, Doc tries to straight up bash Fred Flintstone in the skull with a big ass fucking rock. Dude just added attempted murder to his felony count. I told y'all, Doc number one, straight up asshole. Speaking of Doc and them, they make it back to the TARDIS, but everybody in Bedrock is waiting on their ass when they get there. Now Barney Rubble's trying to say that old boy Fred killed the old woman with his knife, but the Doc is all like, man, get out of here with that shit. There ain't even no blood on this knife. And y'all, the doctor gets up in Barney's feels deep when he says that Fred's knife is bigger than his. Not to be outdone, Barney whips it out, and lo and behold, there's blood on Barney's knife. And now the Bedrock gang ain't having no more of this motherfucker's smoke. They start chucking rocks at this motherfucker till he runs away. But if y'all thought Fred was going to be grateful for them saving his life, you was delusional as hell, because he immediately throws their ass right back in the Cave of Skulls where they came from. But he must have been feeling like a dick a little later, because he goes and tells them that if they would make him some fire, then he'll take them back to the TARDIS. Ian's all like, bet, and then boom, boom, Ian makes fire. Right then, Barney Rubble tried to show up and take all the cred for the fire, but Fred beats that ass and brings the fire to the tribe, locking down the finest honey in the whole fucking cave, y'all. But your man ain't never satisfied. He decides that the Doc and the gang are gonna join their tribe and keep on making fire forever, but y'all know that ain't gonna happen. Ian and Susan put some skulls on some sticks, and this causes the Bedrock gang to lose their shit while the squad haul ass back to the TARDIS. But then the cave folk figured out that they've been tricked, but by the time they make it out to the TARDIS, that's too late. The Doc and his friends done got the hell out of Dodge. Back in the TARDIS, Ian wants Doc to take him and Barbara home, but the Doc says his shitty old time machine ain't gonna work right, and he can't control where the hell it goes. Not long after that, the TARDIS appears in what looks like a nasty-ass swamp. The gang decides that after a few days of shitting their pants with all these cavemen around, that they need to go wash their ass before they go out. But what they don't see is the TARDIS radiation scanner is throwing some numbers that would make Hiroshima look like Palm Beach.